think, Johan, Pecco, and Jack can do a good race. Unfortunately for Danilo, starting good, and unfortunately for Andrea, who is leading the championship, starting from 17th position, is definitely not ideal. His race pace is not so bad, but unfortunately he qualified very back on the grid, and let's see if he can get a good start. But definitely I think it's going to be an interesting race, and a challenge for all the riders.
Thank you.
A lot could happen on lap one as well. Thank you very much to Paolo Ciabatti and to Simon Crafart. I wonder what's happened to that tear off he's just ripped off us. Well, I hope he's not going to go anywhere near Jack Willis' Pramo Ducati. Not from 17th on the grid, it hasn't. You have to find that one on the opening lap. Our virtual fan wall, hello to all of our fans, wherever you are, whatever time of day it is. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all of you. Thank you for joining us. This is our tribute to you. Enjoy the race. 24 laps coming up. We're hoping it's going to be a belter. We've had some stories so far this year. 6 different winners in 7 races. Will we see a 7th different winner? Franco Morbidelli has been pretty cool all weekend. Good pace, good rhythm, pole position now as well. But can he get into turn 1 ahead of those Ducatis? And what is in store for this young man? Maverick Vinales, confidence back after that brilliant win on Sunday. A lot of work done with a full tank of fuel as well, but the big question always, can he pass the Ducatis? Because he's almost certainly going to find a couple of them in front of him in the early stages.
Fabio Quartararo, will he emerge out of this Barcelona scrap as the World Championship leader yet again? Andrea Dovizioso, one of his close rivals, down in 17th place. A great opportunity for the likes of Vinales, Quartararo and Mir to try and seize the advantage in this championship chase.
Pecco Bagnaia starting way back on the grid. He's been gradually improving. His pace looks solid, but he's 14th on the grid. He was the favourite last week. He's the underdog today. Will that play in his favour? And what about Joan Mir? The man in form in the World Championship, 8th on the grid. Very few riders have better pace than him on used soft rubber.
There's been no win or podium here in Barcelona for a Suzuki since Kenny Roberts Jr. 20 years ago, 2 decades ago. Can you believe that? Surely that's got a great chance of being ended today by Joan Mir. And don't discount Alex Rins as well. And don't panic about the windscreen wipers going on the BMW safety car. We had those little nervy moments at the start of Moto 3, didn't we?
We edge closer to race time here for the Monster Energy Grand Prix of Catalunya. Excitement for all of us, neutrally, such a tough one to call. The Battle of Barcelona is just moments away. Will it be a catfight in Catalunya? Here is your front row featuring all the Yamahas, all with soft front, soft rear tyres. The evergreen Valentino Rossi starting from 3rd in his 350th Premier Class start. Can he get himself podium number 200? Can he end the drought? The last win for him, of course, Assen 2017. What a story it would be if he could get himself to the top step here today and pick up his 8th Premier Class win in Barcelona.
Some last words of encouragement from his crew chief, David Munoz.
我现在手上握着这一台呢，就是全新地表最帅的 Sony A7C Full Frame。
Valentino Rossi is attacking Marco Simoncelli. That right leg that he broke just 6 weeks ago gets thrown out to help him come round turn 1, but not able to do it.
Well, we're looking at Valentino Rossi at the moment. He's in 5th place, but my God,
me that I've used the expression if not when it should be when not if. Yes, the triple headers are very tiring. A couple of times today. Words have been a bit muddled. These clouds then, that's going to be key coming up. As Matt rightly said in MotoGP, looks like we could have all riders on soft tyres, and even then that doesn't mean that we're not going to see a tyre battle, because some riders and teams faring better than others in terms of tyre durability. It's going to be a long 24-lap race coming up in the Premier class, where we have a Yamaha lockout on the front row. If anyone was thinking about going for the medium, I think they might have just been persuaded otherwise, Matt.
Yeah, I think there was only two riders, Tito Rabat and Johan Zarco, that were looking at the medium, certainly in terms of rear tyre choice, but the wind has started to pick up here quite dramatically around this circuit to Barcelona, Catalonia. There's some heavy cloud cover as well. I've just actually popped out of the commentary box very, very quickly. It is cold. It's very, very chilly out there right now, so that will definitely influence rear tyre choice, and you wonder how many riders will drop down. There was half a dozen, maybe 6, 7, 8 riders that were looking at the medium front tyre, but will it be too cold and too breezy to risk running that medium front? Probably will do, because like I said, just stepped out the commentary box and it is not very warm at all right now.
Doesn't seem like it's warmed up at all since morning warm-up, does it? And that was around about 18 degree air temperature, 18 degree track temperature. So intriguing, as it has been all year in MotoGP. 6 different winners in 7 races. Will we see a 7th here today? And there'll be a lot of people around the world tuning in, hoping that in his 350th Premier Class race, Valentino Rossi can get himself not just on the podium, but maybe even challenge for victory.
He has got an amazing record here in Barcelona. 14 Premier Class podiums. Yamaha's last winner here in 2016. They've locked out the front row, and who could forget one of those famous victories here, 2009, 11 long years ago now since the late drama, the last corner brilliance of Rossi, creating something on Jorge Lorenzo, one of the most famous last lap battles we've seen in MotoGP history. Let's hope we get another one of those and a little bit later on today, because it's all set up and geared up for an absolute classic.
Just watching a couple of the Yamaha mechanics getting their machines ready outside the garage. You can just see it's nowhere near as bright around Montmello here today. Of course, I don't think we're going to be seeing temperatures again for the rest of this season that'll be anywhere near the 30s. From here we move on to Le Mans. That will be Baltic. Then we go on to Aragon. It won't be too bad there, but again, it's quite late in the year. It will still be pretty cool over there in Aragon.
Cool, certainly in the mornings, and then in the evenings as well. So those morning sessions might be quite tricky. And then Valencia and Portimao to finish all off with another triple header.
Well, Valencia's normally cold in Oxo. I mean, it's practically Christmas by the time we get there.
I think this weekend might be the last time I'm back in the shorts and the t-shirts, that's for sure.
MotoGP coverage then will be on the way in about 45 seconds. We'll take a break until then, so stick with us, ready for the Premier Class, the main event of the weekend, coming up here in the Grand Prix of Catalonia. Stage of 2020, and we are ready for the Battle of Barcelona. Reaches its climax in the most thrilling stories MotoGP has seen in years. 6 different winners, 4 points between 4 riders. We're revved up for the Monster Energy Grand Prix of Catalonia. 4.6 kilometers in length. The Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya. 14 corners, 8 of them right, 6 of them left. 1 kilometre long straight. We've seen so much drama here in the past. Biggest overtaking hotspot, you'd argue, turn 10. Best race lap still Jorge Lorenzo from a couple of years ago on the Ducati 40.021. This was turn 10 a couple of years ago. Andrea Iannone when he was on the Suzuki. That feels like years ago now, when it was a couple of years ago, but it feels longer than that. Keep an eye on turn 10 today. Coming up then in MotoGP, Franco Morbidelli will start the Grand Prix from pole position, his first in the Premier class. No podium since his double in Spain. We're back on Spanish soil. Can he get himself that championship lead again? Behind Quartararo on the grid is Valentino Rossi in his 350th Premier class start, looking for podium 200. And everyone will keep their eyes on Joan Mir. The Suzuki man starts from 8th, looking for a maiden MotoGP victory. Barcelona. Track temperatures just creeped up ever so slightly since Moto2, but a lot of cloud cover here and air temperature has actually dropped to 17 degrees as we get ready for the 8th race of 2020 in MotoGP. It couldn't be closer at the top. 4 points separating 4 riders, with Andrea Dovizioso leading the World Championship somehow. But you have to say, Undaunted Dovi is unlikely to be the championship leader at the end of this one. He's got to start from 17th on the grid here today. Steve Day, Matt Burt, Simon Crafard to talk you through the MotoGP race coming up. It's a Yamaha lockout on the front row, and again, Matt, tough to call so far this season, and it looks like it's the same again today.
Just how we like it. Been very unpredictable, crazy unpredictable in many respects, hasn't it? Over the first races here in 2020, and Yamaha lockout of the front row for the second time in 3 races. This man sits in the middle of that front row, Fabio Quartararo. Bit of drama for him in this morning's 20-minute warm-up session. Took a little tip off in the gravel trap at turn 4 after locking the front, but he comes to the front row of the grid for the 7th time in 8 races this year, and desperate to try and rediscover some form, Fabio Quartararo. It's all gone a bit horribly wrong after that excellent start to the season. 50-point haul from 50 points on the table in the 2 Jerez races. Since then, he's taken just 33 points since in the next 5 Grand Prix. Is it Fabio Quartararo's time to return to the top step of the podium? He's a race winner here, of course, in Barcelona in Moto2 back in 2018.
Paul Espargaro hails from Granollers, of course, just down the road, round the corner here. Used to be able to hear the bikes from his back garden. He had brilliant pace yesterday, Matt, in free practice 4. But the question mark, I think, for all KTM riders is how much tyre life they can get. They seem to be suffering a little more than most.
Yeah, the KTM factory team are staying in our hotel in downtown Barcelona and at a safe social distance. We caught up with a couple of them this morning saying, yeah, they're a little bit concerned about how long that rear tyre will hang in there. They're going to go for the soft. You cannot go for anything other, surely, in these cool conditions.
Here is Franco Morbidelli, then 5th in the World Championship. He's only 20 points down overall, and he's on pole position for the first time. Something a bit different about Franco Morbidelli since that victory as well a couple of rounds ago. That confidence is there. Is he going to be victorious again today, or will there be a fairy tale story?
Does the doctor have an appointment with the top step of the podium for the first time since Assen 2017? It's been already a great weekend so far for Valentino Rossi. His first front row start in 15 since the British Grand Prix at Silverstone last August. A new contract safely tucked away in his pocket. He's moving to the Petronas Yamaha SRT team next year on a factory-supported Yamaha Y-Star M1. Can he cap off this great weekend? His 350th MotoGP start, a 200th Premier Class podium beckons. He's in the game, make no question about it. Maverick Vinales goes from 5th. All 4 Yamahas have very, very similar pace. It looks like the Yamahas as well will all go for all the same tyre combination. Soft front tyre, soft Michelin rear tyre as well, so there'll be nothing to choose between those top 4 men who are going from those first 2 rows in this 24-lap race.
Their biggest problem in the early stages, the Ducatis and Jack Miller and Johann Zarco. Here is Jack, 6th in the World Championship, of course. Disappointment, bitter disappointment last time out. Nothing he could do about the tear-off from Fabio Quartararo. Matt, he starts from 4th on the grid. Good money would be going on Miller or Zarco to be leading into turn 1.
Yeah, now Johann Zarco's got that Ducati launch device and the ride height device fitted to his Ducati. Keep a close eye on him. You've got to think that there's a long drag down to the first corner here. And Jack Miller was speaking yesterday, there's meters to burn, and he feels very confident that he can overhaul the 3 Yamahas ahead of him and grab the whole shot here in Barcelona.
Aleix Espargaro, Antonio Jimenez, his crew chief on the right, 17th in the World Championship, of course, home race for Aleix, but with it all to do. A couple of costly crashes so far here this weekend as well. So Aleix Espargaro then looking to try and get himself anything near the top 10 would do for him.
Maverick Vinales, the race winner in Misano 2, silencing quite a lot of critics that have been coming his way after a strong start to the season. Vinales now just 1 point behind Andrea Dovizioso in the title chase. Confident in his race pacing.
That anything inside the top 8 would actually be a bonus.
Yeah, a big ask today for Andrea Dovizioso. Has not had the speed or the consistency all weekend, has he? Struggling with that new Michelin rear tyre, 17th place. One man who's not struggling, it's this man, Joan Mir, number 36 on the factory Suzuki, comes into this race in golden form. 4 successive top 4 finishes for him over the last 4 Grand Prix. Nobody scored more points in the last 4 races coming into this Barcelona battle than Joan Mir.
The impressive landscape surrounding Barcelona here. Took a wrong turn on the way into the circuit the other day and found ourselves not too far away from these mountains.
I think that's what you call the scenic route, wasn't it? Very pleasant indeed.
Here is Johann Zarco then, nothing to lose for the Sponsorama Ducati runner, and as Matt just mentioned, with that launch control device fitted, a threat into turn 1. When you say Johann Zarco and you say nothing to lose, it can be a big threat to other riders. Doesn't have the pace, ultimately, it looks like, Matt, to really be able to fight for the podium today.
No, he's admitted that all weekend. When the tyre drops off, he's not able to maintain his rhythm as fast and consistently as those around him. So it might be a bit of an uphill battle today for Johann Zarco. He's relying on a strong start and then maybe trying to bolt away and get away at the front.
Our virtual fan wall over at turn 10. Thank you to all of our fans. Give us a wave. You're all there on the world feed. Great to have you here, of course. There you go. Brilliant stuff. Thank you so much for joining us. It's a shame you can't be in the grandstands, but well, even the marshals are giving a round of applause there. Let's hope you're in for a good race.
Can see quite a lot of Valentino Rossi fans on that virtual fan wall. Let's hope they're all still smiling and celebrating in about an hour and 15 minutes time.
Our loyal fans, a tribute to you. Here's Danilo Petrucci. Oh, had a bad weekend by all accounts, actually. Danilo, 9th on the grid. Earlier on the weekend, had some pretty good pace as well. But tyre life has always been a problem for Danilo, so is that really going to play a big part in a negative way for him? Not forgetting, of course, Catalunya is a circuit he quite likes last year.
Yeah, he picked up the pieces, and there was a lot of pieces, wasn't there, after the whole Lorenzo wrecking ball at turn 10 when he wiped out Vinales, Dovizioso and Valentino Rossi.
Great tribute, as always, to the late Louis Salon, who tragically lost his life here at the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya. Always in our memories, the number 39. Bagnaia exiting pit lane. Aleix Espargaro rolling back the years with a tribute to one of his old helmet designs. Johann Zarco now leaving pit lane as well. Zarco's pretty much admitted that it looks like it's a lost cause fighting for the factory seat in 2021 now.
Well, the only way I think he's going to pinch that seat off Pecco Bagnaia is if he wins today's Grand Prix. That's it. He's going to have to find some way of winning this Grand Prix today. So Franco Morbidelli comes to the grid. He said yesterday almost obliged to run the soft front tyre because that was the only way that he could get any temperature into front. The medium, not an option. Yesterday it was only Zarco and Rabat that provisionally looked like they were going for the medium rear tyre. Dovizioso, crystal clear what his choice is. White banded soft front, soft rear tyre. Cal Crutchlow, that's a used soft rear tyre. So Cal coming to the grid on a worn tyre. He'll fit a brand new tyre to the rear of that LCR Honda on the grid.
Those piercing eyes of Cal. You never know what's in store sometimes with Cal Crutchlow. On a day like today where it's unpredictable as well, a good start for Cal, and you never know where he might end up. What a day this could be for Valentino Rossi in the stars, that Rossi wins on his 350th Premier Class start the day after signing the contract to stay in MotoGP.
Well, you wouldn't put it past him, and you wouldn't put it past 2020 MotoGP, would you? We've had so many twists and turns. The virtual fan war there again. Go on, give us another wave before we get there. They go. They're all going to give us a wave from the four corners of the globe. Of course, we should be getting ready quite soon, not under normal circumstances, to be heading on the flyway trilogy to Japan, Australia and Malaysia. Great to see MotoGP fans then all around the world still tuning into the action, ready to see what unfolds over the next hour and 10 minutes or so.
Fans of all riders out there. I saw a number 30 hat, someone cheering on Taka Nakagami, LCI, Dovizioso, Honda rider, and for good reason, Matt.
Yeah, don't rule him out. Nakagami's had good race pace, decent in this morning's warm-up session. You can forget those yellow banded hard tyres. We've not seen them at any stage at all this weekend. It's a straight toss-up between the medium and the soft rears and fronts for this 24 lap Barcelona battle. It looks like the majority pick will everybody go for the soft rear tyre. And let's hope, despite some heavy cloud cover overhead, there's no forecast for rain here in this part of Catalonia today, so let's hope we don't need to see those rain tyres as Franco Morbidelli then, for the first time, a new experience for the Italian, coming to the head of a MotoGP grid for the very first time. First Italian to take a pole position in MotoGP in 30 races since Andrea Dovizioso in Japan back in 2018.
Won the race, of course, in Mazzano from second on the grid, got the pace. If the Yamaha can run its own lines, they're in good shape. The question is, can they get to turn one in front? An interesting day ahead. Let's get the thoughts on the grid from the Repsol Honda rider, of course, replacing the absent and injured Marc Marquez.
Throw and Rossi join him on that front row. Keep an eye on the Ducatis of Miller and Zarco coming from row 2 with that start device. Their standard of Maverick Vinales. Pol Espargaro heads row 3 with Joan Mir, who's always got great race pace. You can't rule him out from 8th. Danilo Petrucci completes the 3rd row. Brad Binder in 10th, head of Taka Nakagami and Miguel Oliveira. Alex Rins, his home Grand Prix, will start from the head of row 5. He's ahead of Pecco Bagnaia and Aleix Espargaro. Cal Crutchlow there 16th, ahead of Andrea Dovizioso. Will he still be the World Championship leader at the end of this 24 lap race? 1 point clear of Quartararo and Vinales, but he's starting from way down, 17th place. Stefan Roller, we just heard from there on the grid, he's 20th in the middle of Iker Lecuona and Bradley Smith on row 7, with Tito Rabat there back on row 8. And you can see the tyre choice selection there. Everybody look on for the soft rear tyre for these cool conditions.
You do not want to be going into the long lap penalty zone here today. It's punishing, so there'll be a lot of eyes on that. Let's go on the grid then and find out what Davide Brivio makes of the chances of his two men today, Joan Mir and Alex Rins. Over to you, Si.
Davide, just before everyone came to the grid, I saw a lot of serious meetings going on in the garage. A penny for your thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, of course, we try to get ready for the race. It will be difficult by the end for the tires, because I think everybody's going to use a full wear of the tire in this race. And we spoke to John. I mean, John knows that he has to manage the tire, but of course, it's the challenge is always to find the good compromise between not let the guy go and pushing, but save the tire by the end. So it's a very big mix, and he has to manage. I mean, he knows, he's aware of that, and let's see what's happened. Of course, the starting will be important, and we are in the middle of many KTMs, Ducati, and it will be difficult to keep the position, but that will be important to get out well from let's say the first lap. Then we see, and then Alex is starting from 13, but he can try to do an Alex Rins race. I told him before the race, like, okay, where he may be able to keep a good pace and hopefully recover, save the tire, which is very good on that. And then we see how he's by the end.
David, just before I let you go, I saw FP4 yesterday, both your riders looking really strong. I would be surprised if one of them don't come through to the podium. Do you know, when everyone drops, especially at the end, if they can keep that pace going, do you feel the same or not?
I mean, normally our bike is quite good on tire wear. It's quite gentle on tire, and by the end of the race, sometimes we are in a better position than other bike. But this is a particular track where there is no grip and it's difficult for everybody, and so it will be very important. It will be a mix between managing well the tires, which is not that easy. But okay, I think we can try. Hopefully, I hope we can play the game. You know.
Thank you very much, Davide.
Yeah, thanks to Davide Brivio. Without any doubt, both Suzuki men have chances of podium today, and Mir potentially even better. We just saw there on the grid then 6th is Johan Zarco. Miller is on that second row. Just a quick one on Maverick Vinales. Has not made any progress from grid position to race result at any stage this year. Needs to try and do that here today, because he's got brilliant pace, but can he make the passes he needs?
We just saw there Paul Espargaro, the Spanish rider, looking so strong in FP4 yesterday. Grand Prix debut here way back in 2006. He'll be looking for a strong result after his brilliant ride onto the podium 7 days ago in Misano.
4 points down overall in the World Championship, Joan Mir. Full of confidence. Home race. Here's Cal Crutchlow. Qualifying didn't quite go to plan. Good to have him back on the grid though.
Yeah, tough race coming up for Cal Crutchlow. Said yesterday with those arm problems that he's not sure, he's not done anything like a long run over the course of this weekend so far. Some doubts at the back of his mind prospect for Cal Crutchlow, but you do know that the Brit, he'll get all that bulldog spirit flowing and try and come through the pack as often as he can.
Yamaha luck out on the front row. Valentino Rossi